I've heard that the Beatles are big on blocking videos, so I'm going to have to tread lightly here. May have to even blur things out a whole lot. We will see. You'll find out once you see this. I know the Beatles. I know some of their songs, their big hits. What I've learned from the Beatles through my research over the last few months is how phenomenal they are with what they did for the music industry. One of the things from my understanding is that they completely changed the whole approach to recording music, and that they were one of the first bands, if not the first band, that would start doing multi-layered tracks. Is that correct? And I didn't know that. I knew some of their big hits. I know that they're legendary, that they've really set the tone when it comes to music, that they've influenced a lot of the music industry, that many people have come and tried to, or successfully covered their songs. And now, here we are. It's perfect for you. Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. They are looked at as one of the most iconic bands in music history, also in the 60s and 70s. And their lyrics were powerful to many because they put in words, they put in music and art, the aspirations and frustrations that many experienced in the 1960s, embodying that spirit of rebellion and liberation. And as I see with several of these other bands I've been exploring, there was that need, especially in that era, to break free, figure out who they are. They were very innovative, including in their business strategies, recording techniques, and their album art. So they really set the tone in a lot of ways. One of the first rock groups to ever have their own production company. And they pioneered recording techniques such as that more sophisticated studio sound, works of art when it came to their album covers, and having huge impact on the culture. Okay, so Beatles were very, very impactful. There's one song, however, that I know that I've never fully listened to, as in like from start to finish to analyze it. I know it, but I've never fully analyzed it. And then somebody mentioned that it was written for someone's son whose parents were going through a divorce. Is that correct? Paul McCartney wrote Hey Jude for John Lennon's son, Julian Lennon, after Lennon left his wife for Yoko Ono. Song's lyrics encourage a positive outlook on a sad situation and encourage Jude to find love. Originally, it was called Hey Jules. McCartney changed it to Hey Jude, as Jude sounded better and was less specific. I might have to block out some of this video. I might have to pause a lot, but I hope you can still enjoy this review with me. Go listen to the full video or put it on the side if you want. But let's experience this together.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start.
Interesting, guys. Let her into your heart. Is he speaking about Yoko Ono, as in like this, right? Let her into your heart. Make this sad song and, take this sad song, make it better, right? This situation of divorce and sadness, this anger. Your dad's left your mom. And a lot of times kids also feel like their father is, or the other parent that leaves or wants to be with somebody else has now left the child too. There's often that feeling of you left my mom, you've left me, or vice versa.
To make it better. Hey Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to go out and get her.
Okay, now we're talking about Jules, finding love for himself, right? Go out, be courageous, find love in your life.
The minute you let her under your skin, then you begin to make it better.
Okay, so maybe this idea of when you go find out and find love, you'll understand, you'll start feeling better. What are your thoughts on that theory? What are your thoughts on this idea that, hey, if you're hurting, right, or you're going through the trauma of your parents splitting up, that's very traumatic for kids, for couples too, obviously, divorces, but that affects kids greatly. Is the solution now to find love for themselves? Granted, of course, it depends on the age of the child, but as kids mature, maybe they start understanding their parents better and what may or may not have caused the situation that they're in. I don't know how old Jules was when his parents split up, so that's an interesting encouragement, right? Make the sad situation better. You go find love. It's still, worded in a way that beyond being specific for Jules is now also perhaps just an encouraging love song in general. Hey, dude, right? Whoever you are, Jude, dude, find love. Take the sad situation. Take your sadness, after your breakup, after someone you love leaves, to be encouraged to find comfort.
And anytime you feel the pain, hey Jude,
I love the harmonies here.
don't carry the world upon your shoulder. For well you know that it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder.
I love the harmonies, and I love how that crescendo is kicking in. There's this build up. It's getting more intense, but in an upbeat, exciting way.
Hey Jude,
Tambourines.
don't let me down. You have found her, now go and get her. Remember to let her into your heart, then you can start to make it better. So let it out and let it in. Hey Jude, begin. You're waiting for someone to perform with.
Someone to perform with.
Don't
Interesting.
you know that it's just you? Hey Jude,
I love that.
you do. The movement you need is on your shoulder. Na 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 na, yeah. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and
I love the
make it
harmonies.
better. Remember to let her under your skin. Then you begin to make it better, 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 make it. Oh, na 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 na. Hey Jude.
This perfectly puts in words that joy when people come together clapping, singing this legendary hook. Na 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 na. Hey Jude, right? Legendary, world known. You don't even have to know the lyrics and you recognize it. But it's this beautiful call to just sing together. In a crowd, people go and sing na 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 and light the candles or their phones these days. It brings this sense of unison. It's literally putting in song what he's singing about. Turn a sad song, hey Jude, right? The notes and that chord progression sounding more somber and sad to now go into that joyful na 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 na. The way the notes climb, right? We're going from sad to happy. Literally what he was saying Jude should do. The runs here and the rasp of his voice is nuts. Ooh, the drums on that one. Did you hear that? Brrr. That was dope. I'm going to stop here, you guys, just to avoid copyrights and blocking. Guys, what a powerful, legendary, historic song. And of course, the backstory of this whole thing is complicated. As I said, talking about Jude turn a sad song into a make it better, literally doing that in this song, going from sad notes and note compositions to somber reflections and now full-on blasting, rasp, ad-libbing, the harmonies, the drums going bananas, that riff continuing to carry everything throughout, that legendary loop, na 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 na, right, that everybody can chant with and be part of. Psychologically, it does something with you when you have a song where you can now be part of it. You can either sing along because it's memorable, or you feel like you can be part of the call and response, or you can just be part of the crowd. It pulls people together. And from a neuroscientific standpoint, we've learned that when people listen to music together, their brains may start synchronizing. You're on that same wavelength as you're perceiving these sound waves. It affects people emotionally, right? It does something with connecting people, tying us together. And when you're going through grief, because you've gone through a breakup, you're looking for love, your parents got divorced, you've experienced some type of trauma that was associated with loss and grief, death, divorce, loss of a job, those type of endings can trigger our bring grief, for one, anger, sadness, hopefully eventually acceptance as we heal, but they always hurt, and there's different emotions we go through in different ways. It ties into our identity depending on what type of loss we're talking about, how old we were when it happened. But I think a lot of times, and this is just from the existential theory standpoint that I often look at things through, it can affect us heavily because it taps into those existential fears. On one hand, death anxieties. When things end, they remind us of our impending end, right? They remind us of our mortality, that things are not permanent and unconditional. There is a condition. People break up, marriages end, things we thought were secure, they are not, right? It shatters a world and makes people feel like the rug is being pulled out from under them. And I think that can trigger those death anxieties because that's what death feels like, right? This idea of I'm going to have to die and I have no say in it, right? My parents are getting divorced and I can't fix it. I can't fix their marriage. I can't stop them. My job is gone and I can't make one appear or make more money out of the blue. I am having a hard time. This relationship is difficult. The loss of a child, loss of a spouse, so many losses that really make us go, I'm out of control, just as much as when it comes to when I'm going to die. That's not in my control. Of course, to a degree, we can, do reckless things and prevent certain disasters. But for the most part, none of us really know when we're going to die. And that creates a level of helplessness. Uncertainty breeds fear. But then there's also other elements of existential theories that affect us, such as our fear of loneliness, which ties in with death too, but it ties in with relationships, right? When the father leaves his wife for another woman, or a mother leaves her husband, sometimes it leaves the child feeling like they're being left too, that they're being abandoned as well. The family unit is being broken up, that safe haven. There's this fear of loneliness. There's also a fear of loss of freedom. We long for freedom. And that's why a lot of political debates often get so hot, because ultimately at the core of a lot of the theories, even on opposite ends, is the common ground for a desire for freedom. And when you lose something's done that is out of your control, you're losing your freedom. And it's paralyzing sometimes, right? You want the freedom to express yourself, be who you want to be, freedom to defend yourself, freedom to speak your mind, freedom to be happy, to pursue happiness. And when you're in this family and suddenly your family is broken up, all that goes, it shatters. And so there's a beauty in the fact that Paul McCartney wrote such a song for this kid, this young man. I don't know how old Jules was. But it also is powerful that such a beautiful song was birthed out of such a polarizing story, because it's the story of a man leaving his wife for another woman is already polarizing in and of itself. It's already complicated enough. No matter what your thoughts are on the topic, no matter if we're pro or against Yoko Ono, no matter if we're going to look at her as the homewrecker and the reason, or John Lennon as the cheating spouse, or the wife, the ex-wife as the problem, or, there's so many, life is complicated. Relationships are complicated, and we're not in people's marriages and houses and stuff. But as much as that situation was polarizing, and people will argue she was a legend, she was awesome, this was beautiful, or she destroyed the Beatles, or, all these theories out there of who she was, what role she played. People are people. People are trying to figure out who they are, what they want. They're trying to love. They make mistakes. They get back up. And sometimes we don't know until someone's deathbed, and even never. if people are really happy with the decisions they made, if they wonder what life would have been like if they would have chosen differently, if they were truly happy. And then sometimes we talk about happiness at what price, right? Is it true happiness if now people are suffering? You know, how much can we control other people's suffering and sacrifice our own peace and happiness to make everybody else happy? The topics go on and on, philosophy, psychology. Okay? But regardless of how polarizing this whole situation was, something beautiful, a powerful, legendary, timeless song came out of this. And I think that's so beautiful, how music brings us together and how music can communicate hope, taking a sad song, making it better. Just a legendary song. What are your thoughts on this piece? What are your thoughts on the whole situation of what this piece came out of or from? And yeah, when was the first time you experienced this? Again, this was not a first time reaction, but I've never explored and analyzed it to this degree. And I didn't know what this story, what this song was actually about or what inspired that songwriting. So I keep learning new things on this channel and I love it. What's next? You tell me. I'll see you in the comments and I'll see you on the next ride. Heyo!